out those socket faces, being sure there's no residue from our pipe or fitting still on these faces. All right, so I'm now going to demonstrate doing a 3/4 inch fusion weld here. And I got my pipe here. Again, it's very important that we've got a clean surface as well as a, squared up as much as possible. If necessary, make a cut. I'm going to demonstrate that here with the cutter. It's also very important not to try to cut off just a very little bit here off the end of the pipe. Come back an inch or so to be sure, again, you're not going to create a unsquare cut. So we'll go ahead and cut this now with this anvil cutter. Now I have a very nice square cut. I'll also take a dry cotton rag, again just being sure that it's good and clean. We'll take our depth gauge. This time we got just 3/4 inch. We're not doing 1¼ inch larger at this particular pipe. So I don't need to chamfer it. I just need to set the depth. I'll push this on. I'll now take the cold ring for the 3/4 inch and keeping one finger on that depth gauge so it doesn't slide off. Okay, now I'm going to set the depth. Then I'm going to clamp down. Again, this one's a little tight, so I'm going to loosen it up just a little bit. Again, it's basically a vice grip here. Again, now I've got it secured. I'll pull the depth gauge back off. I've got the tool in there now. I'm going to take my hand and grip onto the pipe, and I'm going to make sure this tool is not going to slide, because the last thing you want as you're heating this up to have this tool slide on you. Again, as I mentioned before, don't not use this as a handle. You want to use the pipe as your handle as you're putting this on and off the tool itself, the heating tool. So we've got the pipe ready now. We'll take our fitting, and again, we want to be sure it's clean. Necessary, use the rag, wipe it out, be sure, again, it's clean. Again, a lot of times, in the real world, you're out in the a nice muddy ditch, things like that. You want to make sure everything is clean. So you're going to have plenty of rags in most cases. So we got our pipe and our fitting ready now. Our time on the iron for 3/4 inch, again, right out of the book or our Socket Fusion card, is between 8 and 10 seconds. So again, very important, our fusion timer. We're going to go ahead and pull our bag off here now. And I'm going to demonstrate again checking the temperature. You should do this in between each weld, making sure, again, our tool is at the proper temperature. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and, again, verify that with the 525 tool or temp stick as well, just to be sure. Looks good. All right, we'll now turn on our timer. And again, between 8 and 10 seconds. All right, we're now going to put our pipe and our fitting onto the tool. Once they both bottom out, we'll start our count. All right, we're not going to go the whole 60. Normally there's a 60-second hold time right there. We're not going to go the whole time since this is just for demonstration purposes. We're going to go ahead and pull the cold ring off. Notice when I came off the tool, again, my hand was on the pipe, not on the cold ring tool here. I came off. I had 3 seconds to make my alignment. I used that whole time to line it up and then press it all the way home, again, being sure that, again, I was fully bottomed out. Again, once this is fully cured, again, there's a 20-minute cure time, the pipe and the fitting are all one now, fully melded together. You will not separate the two. That was our 3/4 inch. I'm going to now, again, clean the tool here. Make sure again there's no plastic residue that over time can carbonize there and become part of our socket faces. And I'm going to get the insulated bag back on this tool. Again, keeping that critical temperature up. I'm now going to demonstrate the 1 1/4 pipe. You saw how easy really the 3/4 was. The 1 1/4 is going to be a little bit trickier. We got our pipe here. We're going to make sure we got a good square cut, which we got a pretty good cut there. We'll take our rag here. Again, make sure it's clean. Again, normally, real world, you're out in a ditch. A lot of times it's muddy. You got to make sure you get it completely clean and dry. We'll next use our combination depth and chamfer tool here, and we're going to chamfer the edge of this pipe here. So I'm going to roll it, and you're going to see some of that plastic pipe off that edge coming out of this tool. Then we're going to chamfer that edge. Once we've done chamfered that, we're now going to use it as the depth gauge, pushing it all the way on, using our 1 1/4 cold ring, placing it right behind that depth gauge, securing it. Again, we're going to make sure again it will not slip. Last thing we want is that to slip on us. Again, looks good. Go ahead and put that down, and now we're going to verify our fitting is good and clean. Again, we don't want to have any dirt or anything in there that could contaminate our fusion joint. And now we're going to check the temperature of the tool again. So we'll pull the bag off. Again, we're going to use both temperature sticks, starting out with our 500-degree one, the green one. Again, looks pretty good. I'm going to double check it though to be sure we're not too hot, using the 525. Again, looks very good. Again, we'll use our rag here to clean off that residue. We don't want to leave that on the tool. And now, turn our timer back on. This time we've got 1 1/4 pipe. Now, the fitting is going to take a little longer to bottom out on this tool. So it's a good idea to actually put it on first. Now 1 1/4, we're going to be going between 12 and 15 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and push it on first because it's going to take a little longer to bottom out. A little thicker material, a little longer to heat up. Once it bottoms out, then I'll put the pipe on the tool. If you don't do that, you run the risk of overheating the pipe and potentially having a bad weld. Now my fitting's on. I'll push my pipe in, and now I'll start my count. This is where we'd have our 60-second hold time. I'm not going to quite hold it the whole 60 seconds, since again, this is just for demonstration purposes for this video. We'll now go ahead and release this. I'm going to go ahead and turn the timer off. Before I do, again, just emphasizing, again, my hand was on the pipe. The pipe is the handle, not the tool. Again, I want to go straight on, straight off, and then about align them. Again, very important. Again, it looks really good. Again, we'll clean the tool here. Again, being sure there's no residue left from any of our pipe or our fitting. All right, I'm going to get the insulated bag back on the tool here. Again, keeping that critical temperature up. Now, we showed you, again, 2 different sizes of the pipe and all the proper procedures for socket fusion. Unfortunately, out there are guys not following all these procedures. Again, very important, utilizing our temp sticks, verifying the temperature of the tool, not just using the indicator on the back of the tool. Not a very good reference. It can lead to, again, either cold welds or overheated welds, things like that, which are not good, potentially can cause leaks. Also timing, very critical. We can have the right temperature, but if we don't put the pipe and the fitting on the tool for the correct amount of time, can also lead again to overheating or a cold weld condition again. Just counting in your head generally is not a good and accurate measure for timing on this tool. So again, we showed you all the proper procedures for socket fusion, and I hope you'll utilize those out in the field.